Leaves are falling, nights are longer, and the popcorn's warm. Welcome to Greenlight This, where two movie friends conjure up fresh film ideas straight from the foggy corners of our imagination. Settle in. The season of stories is here. My name is Landon Davis, but you can call me Squiddy, and I'm here with the Great Pumpkin to my Jack Skellington, Travis Medore.
Hello. Thank you, Greenlighters, for all those who have been listening to our episodes.
Yes, thank you so much. We are recording after our second episode has dropped. And then Travis, this week we're heading to FanX here in Salt Lake. What are you excited for?
Oh, I am definitely excited for a couple of voice actors from Avatar: The Last Airbender series. There's so many actors. A few actors from Lord of the Rings, some from Star Trek, and then just the wonderful, amazing vendors that are always there. So many talented artists. Being able to see and experience costumes and cosplays, I for one enjoy cosplaying on occasion. What about you? What are you excited for FanX?
We with two other friends, we've got a group photo that we've got planned, so I'm excited for that. I'm excited for us eating out for dinner.
Yes.
David Tennant, who I always have considered as my doctor from Doctor Who, is going to be there.
So exciting.
We've got plans to do a photo op with the super talented Danny Elfman.
Yes.
Who, for those listening along, if you don't know, Danny Elfman has pretty much done the music for all of Tim Burton's projects.
Oh, yeah.
So he's kind of the music of the current season, if you will. And then one of our favorite panels is called Twisted Tunes.
So fun.
It is where a bunch of voice actors will tell the story script-wise of a movie, but then it's the different voice actors bounce between all their famous voice characters, and it just, becomes quite a hoot.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You can find similar videos to that, like all over the internet from other conventions. It's a lot of fun and a real treat being able to experience that in person.
Absolutely. So there's another thing I want to bring up. Yesterday, the trailer for the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer dropped. What are your thoughts on it, Travis?
So I know we discussed this just a little bit already.
Mm-hmm.
The trailer feels like an extended teaser for basically another season. It doesn't feel like a movie trailer. Like the stills of the visuals, they look good. I'm excited to see Zeb. For those who don't know, Zeb is a character from the Rebels animation series. And so we've gotten a tease of Zeb in some of the Mandalorian episodes in the past, but this is the first time I think we're going to get more of him fleshed out. That I'm excited for. But yeah, the real trailer itself, it didn't really tell us much. There wasn't really anything there story-wise to be like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah, I think a lot of the famous trailers from the movies, we have been children for most of the Star Wars movies, are not even conceived yet when a lot of the Star Wars movies were made. But the ones in our lifetime, you get that trickle of hope, you get the music, whatever, that kind of inspires you of like, oh, there's a new Jedi, or like, oh no, there's the big scary bad. But this just didn't set any tone. And again, off mic, we kind of discussed this, but it feels like this was the footage used during the D23 Expo.
Yeah, it did.
For those that don't know, so D23 is a yearly or biannual at this point. I'm not positive.
I'm not quite sure myself.
But it is a expo with Disney that they reveal and show all the exciting things that they're working on. Disney likes to share so much that a lot of it ends up being canceled as time goes on. So I always take what comes from there with a grain of salt. But this footage just... it was kind of meh. It's just you're watching it, and like you said, it feels like a trailer for another season of a show, not a major motion picture. There's no setup of who the villain is or what the story potentially is going to be, so it's like, okay, cool. Disney, you feel a little desperate, like you want us to be excited for a thing, but give us something to be excited about.
Yeah, personally, I was whelmed. That's about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so on that note, Squiddy, I think we should delve into this. We have a lot to cover today. So, Greenlighters, grab your candy corn. It's time to greenlight something new. All right, hit the lights. Roll camera. Wait. Hold on. Where's the script?
Greenlighters, this episode starts around a simple idea. What if Rankin and Bass had a Halloween special?
Ooh, what if?
And surprise, it turns out that they did. They did one themed around the song Monster Mash. And yeah, it turns out that that's called Monster Party. So they went that idea. They even had another one called Mad Monsters, which was a 2D animation. So yeah, kind of the same idea. So yeah, they went that idea.
These ones, those were pretty hard to find, right? Like you had to do a lot of digging to find them.
Yeah, they definitely don't seem like they have DVD releases.
Okay. Yeah, so for anyone interested, I mean, maybe you can just scour the depths of the internet, but it seems like these are pretty hard to find.
Yeah, I saw some clips pop up on YouTube, but didn't try looking too far into it. So we changed the idea, kind of like in our trailer last week announced, that what if there was kind of a trinity of main heroes in the Halloween story universe? Similar to how Christmas, we have Santa, Frosty, and Rudolph, characters that could be told multiple times in different stories. Who would these heroes be? That was kind of the general idea. My main thought is, being millennials, we have, I think, a huge passion for Halloween. I think 80s, 90s kids, we got the best years of Halloween that will ever exist, potentially.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Between the trick-or-treating, being able to go to people's houses, and yeah, just the loads of candy, the mix of like homemade costumes with like store-bought stuff. Like there was just kind of a perfect blend era. Plus, we have some of the most nostalgic movies of Halloween ever. So I think we take a step back from the two major worlds that kind of set up what Halloween Land would be like. Because in my mind, it is Halloween Town.
Okay.
And Nightmare Before Christmas. I think those two gave us the best examples of
Halloween
Town.
Like that's our most people's childhood right there.
Yeah. So we kind of step back from that a little bit. We think back in old times. We think of Hallows Eve. That is a Druid holiday, right? It's that whole vibe. So it's like, okay, what would Halloween then look like potentially? I think if we kind of look at it in the idea of Fae. So for anyone that doesn't know, kind of in D&D or Shakespeare and other fairy themes, there's the idea that there are Fae who come from like two different courts. Some are your fairies and centaurs and satyrs, and then others look like something that Guillermo del Toro would make in Pan's Labyrinth. They're creepy and twisted and nooked and
kind
knobbed.
Of more like ghostly, ghastly, demonic kind of like haunting entities.
Yeah, so kind of the two sides of the same coin. So I kind of thought, okay, if we start there, we can probably come up with a good trinity of heroes. Yeah. But I did want to sneak in a fourth character that needs to be maybe more like the Jack Frost of the group.
Okay,
so speak at the four. Let me introduce the first character, which is going to be our Jack Frost. I like the idea of her being Matron Patch or Mother Patch. She would, in canon, be the older sister to Jack Frost.
Oh, okay. So we're fully tying that in.
Yeah, so they are two of four siblings that would be Mother Nature's, like, 4 kids of the season.
Gotcha, okay.
So Jack Frost would be winter, Mother or Matron Patch would be over the autumn season. Where Jack can be a little impish and young and jumpy, she, I would imagine, she's aged a bit. She's, in the older years of her life, but she would be like a gardener, and she would be very classic Earth Witch vibes, where she just has so many layers of knit and wool and an apron and patched clothing and things like that, that she just looks like a pumpkin probably from far away. Like the layers just kind of give her a little bit of bulk.
I'm getting Madame Pomfrey from Harry Potter vibes here.
Maybe a little Madame Humphrey, a little Sprout. I think Mrs. Sprout. I think that she would be like...
Oh my gosh, Sprout. That's totally who I meant.
I think constantly like a gardener. She's probably constantly out in the earth gardening. She probably always has like a sunflower or something in her ears. She would she'd be that person that just has like the dried herbs hanging from their ceiling. Like that's just very much the aesthetic I go with for her. Second, we got to get the Santa. We need the main character. And you and I talked about this off mic of what are the most iconic things in Halloween. And we talked cats and spider webs and pumpkins and bats and on. We kept listing it, trying to figure out what we thought was number one. And there's one iconic thing that in the movies Halloween is part of the title sequence. It's the center of the Disney show Halloween Town.
Yeah.
It's a jack-o'-lantern.
Yep, absolutely.
Even Jack Skellington is the
Pumpkin King.
Pumpkin King. Like, it kind of works. That really is the Christmas tree of Halloween. It's the door to Halloween Town in the universe of Nightmare Before Christmas. So I think our lead character would be Jack Lantern. His origin story, though, I think he'd be a little bit more of a fae character. For those that are familiar with Midsummer's Night, I think he'd be kind of like a Puck. He's a little bit tricky, a little sweet. He's got that like trickster fae vibe, kind of a Loki, if you will, if you know him more from like Norse mythology. So I thought he would be called Bramble Jack. We're just going to keep that Jack name going since it's so common with Halloween. Yeah, so he's got the sweet, the challenging side. I think he would be a non-binary character.
Okay.
Again, if you look at older religions and gods in mythology, characters like Loki infamously were kind of a non-binary character because he had a horse child. And Dionysus is another one that's famously like had like alternate versions of themselves. Not to mention Zeus turned into everything so that he could be with everything.
Yeah. I feel like in this essence, like Bramble Jack, Jack Lantern could be whoever or however you want them to be. So because they're not tied down to like just a single gender, in this essence, we're kind of freeing a constraint. So if a young girl maybe wants to like relate more to Bramble Jack, they have that ability, which I really enjoy that freedom.
Yeah, and I think it's this one of the main seasons of change is fall, and it just kind of matches the aesthetic in a lot of ways. I think just to have this character that can be changing its form for good and evil, but also in trickery but also being sweet. Like, I think there's just a lot to it that really works. So for our next character, Travis, why don't you give us the introduction to Shadow Piper?
Yeah, so delving into the Shadow Piper, just to kind of kick things off with the actual movie idea, the concept of the Shadow Piper for me came from the Danse Macabre, or the Dance Macabre. Basically, the Dance of Death is this old medieval theology of basically like once, like basically during Halloween, the dead rise up and they dance throughout the night. And then there's also ties to death and death's guiding souls down to like the afterlife. And so I kind of like really took that where I went with the Shadow Piper. Mm-hmm. And so with that too, they're essentially death, but they're not like the evil format of death that most people think, like the Grim Reaper. Like, you know, they're a more gentler kind of entity. They'll like walk upon the earth as a cat in just the shape of another kind of iconic Halloween figure, but when they need to, they'll shapeshift into like a more humanoid figure, so they could be more I don't want to say represented, but more recognizable. There we go. More recognizable when he's like ferrying and guiding people. And they'll use a mystical flute for their music, since the flute would be one of the more older instruments to exist, since it's just like a reed with holes in it.
So the last character, just kind of our Frosty the Snowman, I think the sweet, happy guy, is going to be Baron Bones. Okay. I kind of just wanted to pay homage a little bit to Dia de los Muertos. And he just would have the aesthetic and look of like a ringling master.
Okay.
But what he does is he just kind of leads monsters and dead kind of back to our realm, like the human world, whatever you want to say, for celebration. So not trying to be like a Grim Reaper figure, but I liked him having maybe that aspect of whatever he's helping bring the dead back to us. Maybe he leads people trick-or-treating, something along those lines. He would have that kind of ringling master. He does shows and dances, whatever, kind of matching the party vibes that we can also do around Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
And I just want him to be like loud and boisterous and funny and like shoulders bouncing. He rolls his head around as a skeleton. Just kind of that idea as bare and bones. Like maybe he, can make his head skull disappear in his hat, kind of a thing, and then like somebody else has it appear on them.
Hola, feliz Dia de los Muertos, everybody.
Perfect Spanish, no challenge to it.
I mean, no insult.
Let me drop the first movie because I think canonically it's going to be first story-wise. So we're going to present 3 stories. I'll do first, and then Travis has the second movie. So this one would just be called Bramblejack. This is going to be Bramble's origin story. So logline would just be follow the young fairy Bramblejack as they become the legendary jack-o'-lantern in their first Halloween night.
Oh, nice.
I like the idea of it being a classic 2D animation.
Okay.
I think let's jump back in time. Let's put it maybe around 2000, still when we had a lot of the Halloween movies and energy going. My kind of inspiration was a lot of El Dorado or Prince of Egypt, like early DreamWorks. Okay. I really liked the design for. But the summary is Bramblejack teases and tricks other fey creatures in the valley known as the Hollow. As their first harvest starts, signaling final preparations for Hallows Eve, Matron Patch picks Bramblejack to be the new lantern. Jack struggles to find his sweet side so that he can serve his fellow creatures. Meanwhile, off in the shadows of the dark, spidery monster Crone Cobweb seeks to twist her powers of weaving stories to twist the season against Jack. Can Jack be sweet enough, or will trickery save the day? Nice. So I kind of wanted to play off of his personality. Has to present almost the creation of trick-or-treating. So Bramblejack, I struggled a lot with who did I want to voice. Oh, yeah. Especially trying to match like early 2000s. And there is one person who we both love dearly, the master and champion of the show Traitors is Alan Cummings. I would love to see him voicing this character. Yeah. His accent, fantastic, but then also
would you let him be like a natural?
I will let him do whatever. But yeah, if he wants to keep his accent, I think it works great. It would give that Fae vibe because so many Fae stories also come from the UK in general. Yeah. But then Matron Patch, I wanted that sweet older British woman vibe. An Angela Lansbury, if you will. Yeah. But I didn't want to fully match her. So the other matron of that era, the dame that we love, Julie Andrews.
Oh, yeah.
She didn't really do voiceover work until later in her career. I think Minions was like the Despicable Me era was like the beginning of her animation with that. I could be wrong. But I thought, let's have like Julie Andrews do it. And then Crone Cobweb, she's weaving stories, and she's kind of got partially spider vibes, but also that seamstress maybe of evil. And she was fantastic being a villain in the 90s. So, and she did voiceover work around this era. I think Glenn Close. Ooh. I think that is just a perfect trilogy of three people to make this movie super exciting. Yeah. Is you have Alan Cummings, Julie Andrews, Glenn Close. Pop that on the poster.
And they're not an in-your-face cast either.
Yeah, it's definitely not I don't know. Like, it's not like some of the other movies around that era where sometimes they just threw in actors to like...
Yeah, they just threw in a big name just because, like, no, these are three people that they have the rapport they have for a reason.
Okay, so why don't you introduce us to the second movie, Travis?
Yes, our second movie around the Shadow Piper. I am calling it Sam Hain. Sam Hain, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, is the name of kind of like one of the the older kind of pagan rituals that like the Dancing Macabre is kind of based around. So I took that for the inspiration for this. It would definitely be more dark fantasy. Think like Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, maybe Pan's Labyrinth, Corpse Bride, Coraline. But the log line for this will be, after the loss of her parents, a young girl seeks to capture the Shadow Piper in order to get her parents back. So our summary here. Okay. During the 1930s in England, young Alice, following the death of her parents, moves in with her grandparents just in time for the town's festival of Samhain. From them, Alice learns of the Shadow Piper, an entity that, with the use of his flute, guides others to the afterlife. And for one night each year, will play his pipe and allow the dead to walk and dance among the living for those he thinks are deserving. The night being All Hallows Eve, when the barrier between the living and the dead is at its thinnest. Alice, who is still grieving, takes it upon herself to capture the Shadow Piper and demand he bring her parents back permanently. While Alice tries to capture the Shadow Piper, his mystic flute is lost. What will result in the loss of the flute? Will the dead find their way to the afterlife? Will Alice see her parents again? And what will become of All Hallows Eve?
Ooh.
So, definitely, this would be a production made within the past, 5 to 10 years. Kind of harder to cast. I'll start with Alice. I was thinking more of, young adult, preteen kind of a deal. It's hard to try to find someone within that range just because, if you find, a young actress, they're instantly an adult in, just a span of a few years. You blink and they're already a grown-up.
Yeah.
So I tried to find someone more British with a softer voice where I feel like they can still play a young girl. So I was thinking Maisie Williams as a top choice. I feel like she still has a very youthful
because this was going to be animation, right?
Yeah. Yes, this is going to be animation. Probably stop motion would be my thought, nice. But it would be fine if going 3D, almost maybe Monster House or I don't know, maybe something more creative. Let the directors have fun with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so potentially Maisie Williams. Another thought I had would be Emilia Clarke.
Okay.
Bringing in two Game of Thrones actresses here.
Yeah.
But so for Granny and Papa Wicker, it was kind of just okay, who can I find that has just the really nice, they're soft-spoken, they have the age to them, but they also have the maturity and the wisdom behind their voices. So for Granny, I picked the wonderful and fabulous Helen Mirren.
Ooh, I love her.
Right?
That Thursday Murder Party that just dropped on Netflix was fantastic. If you haven't watched it, give it a watch.
And then for Papa, I chose Charles Dance.
Ooh, okay. See, in my mind, since he's returning to work, Michael Caine.
See, I did have the thought of Michael Caine, too. I thought he was fully retired. So
yeah, I know he's coming back for...
I didn't want to badger Michael.
Riddick's? Something. One of those franchises is coming back, and he's coming back for one of the movies. And I'm like, there's hope he's coming back, even though he's in his 90s.
And then the Shadow Piper. This one was really hard because I wanted a nice, refined, kind of a dignified voice. Not overly deep and grubbly, because I want the Shadow Piper to really have a lot of heart to him.
Yeah.
So I am picking either Ben Kingsley, who has done a lot of voice work already, or Alfred Molina.
I do love Molina. Well, I love them both, but Molina is got such a great voice. It can kind of be deep, but then other times,
yes,
he has such energy in his voice or power that he's presenting just with his voice that, it can supercharge a scene.
And again, this would be dark fantasy. Think, just Coraline, Corpse Bride, Nightmare, Pinocchio, Pan's Labyrinth. And then for director, I know we talked about this originally, you assume Tim Burton. I'm actually going to go with Henry Selick on this one, with Guillermo del Toro producing it.
Okay, nice. I like that. That's a good cast.
Thank you.
So we each kind of talked about we were going to do one of these movies, and then I said, well, we got to have a third, right? You need the build-up. You need the Avengers Assemble movie. So I figured we'd just call it Hallows Eve.
Okay.
The community I mentioned in the first movie is called Hallows, so Hallows Eve, maybe it's insinuating an end to the community.
Oh.
Maybe it's just referring to the holiday. Whatever, let's get some mystery, right? Some energy behind it. I decided to go with, the story is that Baron Bones must gather Jack-Lantern and Shadow Piper to defeat the mysterious Mask Maker.
Oh.
I'm going to introduce my cast because I went a little bit different than maybe where you did, and I think that's going to be kind of a fun comparison. So first, for the Baron Bones, I went with an actor who I don't think you would know super well, but Anthony Ramos. He was really famous for doing Hamilton. That's kind of the big one that he did. He's been in The Heights. But yeah, he has a lot of energy. I think he would be doing it as the green suit, the bodysuit.
Okay.
But yeah, having his voice behind it, I definitely wanted a Latin actor to deliver on this role. And then for Bramblejack, I just wanted to return. So Alan Cummings coming back and
keep the universe going.
Yeah, he's going to return as the live action version as well. And then my Shadow Piper. So I imagined him when he first mentioned this character being the lengthy, shadowy figure. So at first I was kind of leaning into a Benedict Cumberbatch or Eddie Redmayne. Not ramen. Slip up there. But then I was like, okay, who do I want? And I also kind of was realizing as I was casting, there's not really an American. So I'm like, maybe I need to look at Americans. And that's when I was like, oh, what if we went younger? So I decided on the actor Cooper Koch, I believe is how you say his last name.
Okay, I'm not too familiar with them.
So he was in the Menendez brothers, Monsters miniseries in Netflix last year. Really energetic, really great actor. He has some great scenes where, if we're imagining kind of a shadowy character, that I think he could just do stares or whatever that can give the intensity to a performance.
Gotcha.
And then Matron Patch for a live action version. If we're kind of looking at the movie being made now, it wouldn't. Julie Andrews just doesn't do live action anymore, and let's let her rest. Yeah, she's earned it. So Olivia Colman.
Okay.
Who I love dearly. She was fantastic in The Crown. She's great. And then Mask Maker. I don't know if they're still acting, but I wanted a deep voice. I wanted the old chess player from Pixar, the Pixar short.
Yeah.
I wanted somebody like that, just this old creepish kind of man. But the voice, I wanted it just to be so iconic. So Jeremy Irons.
Ooh.
The summary is that Baron Bones prepares his circus of monsters to parade through the mortal world when he finds monsters missing faces. A shadowy figure disappears. Baron Bones worries it's the mysterious Shadow Piper. He goes to Jack to help confront Piper when Matron Patch is kidnapped.
Oh.
The trio realize Matron Patch has been taken by the ancient craftsman, the Mask Maker, who is angry at how commercial Halloween has become. The trio must take on Mask Maker and save Matron Patch. But will this be Jack's last season?
Dun, dun, dun.
So definitely I wanted a live action, family kind of friendly, but it's probably maybe going to be in that PG-13 range to match Avengers and other stuff. So looking at directors, one movie that I know you've mentioned a couple times so far in the podcast is The Mummy.
Yep.
I also love Van Helsing.
Ah, yes.
So Stephen Sommers as the director for it, since he did both those projects.
He's up for it.
Yeah. Perfect casting. Executive producer. If we've already got Guillermo from the last movie, he can come in as part of it. Then composer, so Alan Silvestri, who did Van Helsing, and he did almost all the Avengers movies, and he did even Back to the Future.
Yes.
So fantastic composer. I think he'd match exactly what I would want from this movie, and he would set that tone. Because I would like it to, have a little bit of a creepy tune to it, but then I also want these moments that feel very superhero-esque. And yeah, I would like to even see a little bit of Latin music pop into it, since Anthony Ramos can sing. I think it'd be kind of fun to have him have a music number where maybe that's part of the introduction of meeting the character. But yeah, that's kind of the trilogy of Halloween movies. Travis, do you have any other thoughts you want to share?
No, I mean, I'm kind of just wishing that these would go through.
I guess we better call Hollywood.
Right. On that note, since it looks like we're running out of time with this segment, want to hit post?
Yeah, let's go to post.
All right.
Good. That's a wrap. Let's go to post.
Well, that was wonderful. Well, Squiddy, we actually have a listener question this time.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Where did the name Squiddy come from? And why don't I, Travis, have a nickname?
Okay. Well, I've kind of always been a nickname guy. Even as a baby, like my doctor gave me a nickname that
really?
is kind of part of the family story. Yeah. He called me Peanut because I was a preemie, but also apparently because of how small I was. I had a nickname growing up as a toddler, child, whatever, little one. That a lot of my extended family called me. I will not repeat that, especially on my. But Squiddy came up because of SpongeBob, so it's based off of Squidward. Yeah, it's because puberty was awkward for me, and my voice change was.
Hello, I'm Squidward.
It was very intense. So it kind of started off a little bit teasing, but it was definitely meant with some compassion and affection. So yeah, it just kind of stuck with me throughout my adult years. But what about you, Travis? Besides me calling you Madorable, have you ever been a nickname guy?
Surprisingly not. I remember being a kid and my parents tried to have me go by TJ. But there was like another TJ in my preschool class, and I didn't really want to be associated with the kid, and I was just like, no, like I'm Travis, I'm the only Travis around, I'm gonna be Travis. And people have like tried to give me nicknames throughout the years, like another guy in like elementary school, he tried to call me T-Bone, and that lasted like for a little while, but it's like he was the only one using it. Besides that, it's like occasionally I'll have people call me like by my last name, Mador, or Madorable, since it's like, for those interested, Mador is literally the word adore with an M in front of it. So people made the connection, oh, we could say Madorable, and isn't that just Madorable?
That's me.
But,
that was me.
But yeah, like I don't know. I've never really been a nickname guy. It's never really stuck. And I've never really thought about giving myself a nickname either. It's just like, yeah, like I'm Travis. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, you also can't really give yourself one. Like even with my first name, Landon, I often still get called like Landino. I had siblings and like people that I've even worked with that occasionally would just be like Landino, the great Bambino. And I'm like, that's not shorter. That defeats the nickname process.
Well, Squiddy, anything you would like to greenlight for our listeners this week?
Well, I mean, I'm greenlighting Fan X because I am so excited about that upcoming this in like 2 days. We're so close to it. But be a few weeks late for the listeners when they listen to this. I would say watch anything Tim Burton, whether it's Batman, whether it's like Nightmare Before Christmas or whatever, like Beetlejuice. Any of his movies are all realistic at some form or another Halloween. So yeah, I say just enjoy him. What about you, Travis?
I am going to greenlight one that you mentioned already as well. I'm going to go with Van Helsing, just because that's kind of one of those yearly ones I love to go through during Halloween season in October, just because it's a beautiful mash of, you got Dracula, you have Dr. Van Helsing himself, which kind of relates to Dracula. We have Frankenstein and the Wolfman. Kind of like the three
big ones, yeah.
The three big ones all in a single movie. And a lot of people give the movie crap here and there, but honestly, I think it's pretty good. It has the campiness of what a monster horror movie should have, while still plenty of action, some romance, some suspense, and some good twists. There we go. Some good twists towards the end.
It's a fun representation of the aughts. Like
yeah.
The aught years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like it's kind of a fun part of that for sure.
Well, got a movie pitch of your own? Love this movie or think we could have cast it better? Or have questions for us? Message or tag us on Blusky, Instagram, TikTok at Greenlight This Pod. We might feature it in a future episode.
Follow us on Letterbox, where we post movie reviews, and our watch list might hold hints for what's in production. And if you enjoyed this production, leave us a 5-star review and subscribe so you don't miss the next premiere. Let's drop next week's trailer and credits roll.
You know the myth. Long ago in ancient Greece, she was defeated by Perseus. Her image could turn anyone to stone. But what of her kind? What if the Gorgons were made into monster movies? Could they join the Universal Monsters? What would the movie look like now? Who would we cast? Find out next Tuesday. Greenlight This is self-produced, written and directed by Landon Davis and Travis Medor. Director of Photography, absolutely no one. This is a podcast. Sound department, Travis Medor. Casting, us, and hopefully, Alan Cummings, please. Music, Buccaneer by Zenial from freemusicarchive.org. Special thanks, you, our listeners, the real studio heads who greenlight every episode just by pressing play. This has been Greenlight This. Until next time.
Dang it.